Welcome to episode 30 of the Torreya Guardians video series. Florida Torreya in Louisiana, mature grove with seedlings, filmed in 2018. Owing to length, episode 30 is in two parts, each about a half hour long. First, some background as to why video documentation of this mature set of Torreyas in Louisiana is so important. Mature horticultural plantings are crucial, not only for documenting the ability of this endangered tree species to thrive far outside of its tiny native range in Florida. Such horticultural plantings are also crucial for understanding just about everything this species can do, and what environmental conditions, including forest types and plant associates, serve it well. Sadly, the mature trees found in the tiny peak glacial native range in northern Florida pretty much vanished by the 1960s. Basal stems have been arising again and again from old rootstock there, but those stems rapidly succumb to a variety of diseases in Florida. So, the only place to study how this evergreen conifer grows, how it reproduces, and how it adapts within different forest communities is to visit established horticultural plantings in other states, especially northward states, where the climate seems to have prevented native or exotic diseases from harming the mature Torreya trees. Especially important are the historic horticultural plantings that are old enough and healthy enough to not only produce seeds, but for those seeds to germinate and establish on their own. Thus far, Torreya Guardians have visited and documented mature trees with next-generation seedlings evident nearby in just 4 locations. 2 of those locations are in the Appalachian Mountains of western North Carolina, Harbison House near Highlands, and the Biltmore Gardens near Asheville. Jack Johnston and I photo-documented the Harbin House Torreyas in 2015. Michael Dowd and I have documented the Biltmore Garden Torreyas several times, most recently in spring of 2018. Both of these Torreya groves are nearly a century old. In the eastern part of North Carolina, A.J. Bullard alerted us to 2 mature horticultural plantings in the eastern part of the state. His own planting in Mount Olive, and the much older Torreya planting from which he had obtained seed in the 1990s. That is the front yard of the Kennedy home in Clinton, North Carolina. A.J. also supplied the oral history. Importantly, he told the story of how that seed-producing Torreya at the Kennedy home, which I visited in the fall of 2013, still had a larger neighbor only a few years ago, and how a storm-felled pine put an end to its Torreya companion. Back to the chart of historic groves. In 2018, we added a 4th site at which horticulturally planted Florida Torreyas beyond the state of Florida had been producing seeds, and which proof of ability to thrive was documented. Proof entailed not just seed production, but that those seeds are able to establish next-generation Torreyas entirely on their own. Harbison House, Biltmore, Kennedy House, and now the Caroline Dormon Nature Preserve of Louisiana all have documented ability to thrive, reproduce, and establish. You can learn more about these and other historic groves on a web page by that title, accessed through the TorreyaGuardians.org homepage. Now, to the subject of this video. It was Gary Landry who in early 2018 alerted Torreya Guardians to the existence of a mature horticultural planting of Torreya taxifolia in the north-central part of Louisiana. As with the mature horticultural plantings in North Carolina, this Louisiana site also produced seeds and established seedlings all on its own. Here we could learn crucial information about the natural history and habits of this ancient yew-like tree. Information that could help us do an even better job in siting outplantings of Torreya to cope with all the Holocene warming to date and to anticipate the climate changes to come. This is the Caroline Dormon Nature Preserve, which was known as Briarwood Preserve in previous generations. It was Caroline Dormon who ventured to the Apalachicola area of North Florida to acquire specimens of Torreya, which she planted on her family's land circa 1950. 68 years later, two Torreya Guardians, Clint Bancroft of Tennessee and myself, Connie Barlow, met up with two members of the Johnson family, stewards of the Caroline Dormon Nature Preserve. Longtime neighbors of the Dormon family, the Johnson family has been stewarding the preserve since Miss Caroline died in 1971. Here you see the second and third generation Johnson stewards, Rick and his son David. Richard Johnson Sr., now 90 years old, was the first steward of the preserve. Fortunately, second generation, Rick Johnson, also got a chance to be guided through the woods by Miss Caroline herself while he was still a child. My husband, Michael Dowd, took the group photo. You'll see him assisting this site visit later. So let's get started. Rick Johnson leads this tour and offers the basic history to begin with.
Okay, you got Caroline Dormon, 1888 to 1971, naturalist, horticulturist, author, artist, and driving force for the creation of Coxsackie National Forest. She worked a lot with hybridizing of the Louisiana iris and getting them recognized. People didn't realize how well they would do out of their southern Louisiana habitat until she brought them up here. Well, what we have here, this is one of the three original Torreyas that Caroline Dormon collected when she made her trip down to Florida, down to Apalachicola. She collected them from a farmer's field down there and brought them back and set out the cuttings here on the preserve. And this is one of the two remaining of that collection that she had.
So how old is this tree?
This tree would date back to around 1950, 51, somewhere along in there is when she did the collection. We don't have an exact date, or at least I've not been able to find an exact date when she did her collection.
And how has it been managed around here? Because this has got a tree form, and up here you've got some pine. Has it always had a lot of sun? Did it have more sun when it was young?
It may have had, it would have had a little bit more sun when it was younger. These oaks and pines have grown up around it. But as far as being managed, it's been managed by leaving it alone.
Yeah. Now what happened? What's that tree that's fallen behind it there?
That is a big red oak that came down in a windstorm this past year. It got heart rot. And the wind got it, whipped it around, and knocked it down. Thank goodness it went the way it went, and not over this way.
So tell me what the species of trees are around here.
Okay, we have the loblolly pine. We have witch hazel, of some small beech. Let's see, there's a black hickory,
Is that a tulip tree there, Liriodendron?
There's some back a little bit further back over by the visitor center. We have the American osmanthus.
American osmanthus, is that a tree?
Yes, it will form a tree, and I'll show you. I'll show you one of the biggest ones that on the property. There's a small one right there. It's about probably 4 inches. There's the American Holly.
Oh, you sure?
And then black gum.
All right.
And then white oak. And that's pretty much the species, the tree species that you're finding around here.
Does anything like to grow under this tree, or does it pretty much just shade everything out?
It shades everything out.
Look at that cute little basil growing there. You never cut away the basils, do you?
No. We don't. We cut nothing.
Good. The wisdom that we have thus far is that if you start out as a cutting, you'll never grow into a tree. You'll grow into a giant shrub with multi-stems. This is a tree. Do you think that after the cutting got going, she cut it back and then a basil came up like there and it turned into a tree? Like, how did she get a tree out of a cutting?
Grandma said it might have been a digging.
It might have been a what?
It might have been a digging.
What's that?
She okay. What are you saying is that my mom said Miss Carrie might have dug it rather than cut it.
Good for her.
Yeah, that's what Grandma said, at least. So, because I was talking to her about it, she said she's pretty sure it was dug up and maybe not a cutting.
Okay, because see, the thing is that, but by the time people really started to study this tree in Florida, they were gone. I mean, they weren't growing anymore.
Yeah.
So nobody really knows how this tree grows.
Okay.
Now, is this the one that started out is male and then put on some female branches?
No, this is not it. That one's even bigger.
Okay, does this one put out male?
It does put on male. We've seen lots and lots of flowers on it. The male flower.
Are they mostly high up?
No, I've had them all the way right down here on these little ground limbs right here.
Really?
Yeah. Usually we see them on this one. I've seen them just about every year. So I see them around April, May time frame.
The basil here is coming up on the south side, and that's what redwoods do too out in California. They put their basils up. Wow, look at this. It's brown here, so this is a couple years old. Green. This is relatively new here, except why is that brown there and then green again? Isn't that weird?
It is.
Green. I've never seen that. Green.
You've got 2
brown.
apicals here. This one died.
Oh.
And it's put out 2 apical branches.
Yeah. Okay, very interesting. And here's a previous basil so it's just, just got the usual, not a whole lot. Oh, this is interesting. Look at it, it's putting out this. Why is it growing this way? This is very interesting. I've never seen a basil do that before. That is bizarre.
It looks like it may have broken off here.
Oh, okay, so a lateral is turning into a basil. That would have been a lateral bud then.
Yeah, that's turning into a vertical growth.
Yeah, and then it's growing some more here. Got a couple laterals coming out. Look at this beautiful bark.
Oh, no.
Wow. Kind of looks a little bit like a hemlock, but in terms of the bark, but a little lighter brown. And then let's look up here. Oh. Whoa. Oh, look at that green. Wow. Oh. Whoa. Did I hear you say you just planted? Oh my gosh,
This one's been planted out from the mother tree over there.
Where's the mother tree?
It's on the other side of the hill.
Okay, so we haven't seen her yet.
No, we haven't got close.
Where does she get her pollen from? This one? This one right here?
It's probably from itself, unless
No, she wouldn't want to do that.
Over from this side, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just.
But that one's older. You say that tree's
They're both
older.
the same size. They're both the exact same age.
Really? And this one's never put on female, just male.
Male, yeah.
Wow.
And this is one of the seedlings that came up over there by the other tree. I'm not sure just how big it was when they transplanted it, but
Who's they?
Mom and Dad.
Oh, the originals. How old was your dad when he did this? Your mom's got to be ancient too.
Mom's 85.
Jesus.
Dad's 90. I've been here for 5 years, and I know it's been there for at least 4 to 5 years before me. So I'll say 9 to 10 years would be my semi-educated guess at it.
Okay. Yeah, because there's that part's green, so that's relatively recent.
Mm-hmm. They seem to put on about 3 to 4 inches of growth, roughly each year.
Oh, look at this! It's got a witch hazel right by it. That's nice. And who's this? Who's this evergreen right there?
This is the yes, Florida Anise.
You're
yes.
kidding?
No, that's the Florida Anise.
So did Miss Caroline plant that?
She brought them in, yes, and these we got them all over the place.
You mean that she planted, or they're planting themselves now?
They're planting themselves now. There's this little cluster here. There's a whole bunch of them going down there. And then over here is the one that sold up and died on us right here.
Ooh, one that you mean that she had planted?
Yes, this is one of the ones she planted, and that's the one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So it all of a sudden in the fall of the year, like I said, it had that super wet spring, the hard drought. The next spring was super wet. That was when Harvey came through, or the year Harvey came through, I guess. So the ground was just stayed soaked, and between extreme wet and extreme dry. And when we would hit the dry periods, we would get out here and water them, obviously.
So it was right after Harvey hit?
It was actually, it had started yellowing off before Harvey, because Harvey came in Labor Day weekend.
Okay. And now the thing when you say too wet, this is really sandy soil here, right?
It is sandy soil.
Okay.
And it drains very, very well.
Yeah.
We never got a break.
I mean, if these pines can survive, Torrey can definitely survive. Oh. So something else must be going on here.
I see where the sapsuckers and the
yeah. Now this is interesting. The sapsuckers are doing vertical on here. Mm-hmm. I'm used to sapsuckers doing like horizontal. And then here's a little fungus coming out from some of the sapsucker places.
Yeah, that would have, because you can see it where it's collected at, instead of being like here on like the edge of the bark, it's here like in the little crevices and starting in those holes where the water is able
so
to
that's
seep
a
in.
post-mortem fungus.
So.
Yeah. Because it would still be really interesting to find out, why did this suddenly die?
Yeah, that one is a mystery. So
yeah,
and because I mean, this one and that one were both getting the same water treatments during the drought, but that one was fine and this one sold up.
Okay, so during the drought, and I see that one, it's got the black hose by it. How did you get water here?
There are 2 irrigation ponds that we have. One where Chris lives, that's the old Johnson pond. And then there's another one over by Grandpappy. It's Wings Rest Pond, and there's 2 pumps. There's 1 pump on each one, and we're actually able to pump water through the entire irrigation system using those.
Wow. And did you notice, did it start dying at the top, or dying at the tips of the branches?
It was like the tips at the ends.
The ends, and they just started to yellow?
Yeah, and they just turned like a golden yellow, and it just kind of worked its way in. So,
because I don't see anything here that resembles the kind of cankers that Florida has. Because those are really obvious sort of swellings.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, up until that point, it was incredibly healthy looking. So, and then it just succumbed to it, to whatever happened to it. So, the only thing we can guess is just the extreme weather differences during the time period that it happened.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's a mystery. It's definitely a mystery. Okay, so what are the guesses? Here we are standing here. What are the guesses as to why? Obviously, this one is not as happy as that one. So could it be that she planted that it doesn't like being by all these pines? Now these pines are much younger than it, right?
No, these pines are older. They're substantially older.
This is a magnolia something here.
That is the Magnolia macrophylla, the bigleaf magnolia.
And did she plant that too?
That would have been planted by a bird, most likely. The ones that she has planted have up and died, but they've got hundreds of seedlings all over the property now.
Is this a Yaupon holly? What is this?
Yaupon,
Okay, so you don't have any privet invasion, do you?
We do have privet around. We try to keep it as much of it out of here as we can. Even the American holly, we've had to pull them up. And the funny thing is, Miss Carey wrote a poem called "The Ode to the Holly," lamenting the fact that people were cutting holly limbs for their berries for Christmas decorations. And I'm over here pulling them up to get them out of the ground because they're taking over spots. And it's like,
yeah.
She would have loved to have seen that day, though. I mean, to have a time when the holly was in abundance. So.
Yeah. Now this is a big Southern Magnolia here. Did she plant that, or does that plant itself?
Probably self-planted.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. They're quite native to the area, so my guess is that one probably just came up on its own. The Mountain Laurel that's right there, that nice sized Mountain Laurel right here, is she planted those. Now, all the Mountain Laurels, all the big Mountain Laurels on the property were planted by Miss Carey. They're found generally. Always found natively east of the Mississippi because there's just no way for the seed to get across that river. And she planted that one, and this would have been planted probably around 1924. Yeah, around 24, 25.
It looks old.
That was kind of the peak of her plant collecting and traveling.
Now what is this again right here?
That's the Florida Anise.
Oh,
right here.
Hey.
That's that anise.
And what kind of? It doesn't make a berry. It makes something else.
It makes it makes that seed pod. It looks just like the anise spice.
Yeah. Oh gosh, look at those.
Do not confuse with spice because all parts of this one are poisonous.
Poisonous. This is quite a thicket of them here. So look at this evergreen understory. If we look right here, you got these giant pines. And then you've got this fully evergreen understory that she planted.
Yeah, that would be from stuff she planted. Those are the anise and American osmanthus that are out there. And we'll grab the cart and come back down here a little bit, and I'll show you that osmanthus tree that we have.
Okay, who are these two trees here?
The one on the left is the American osmanthus, and the one to the right is the sweet bass. Look and see. You'll see that.
And is the sweet bay native here?
Yes, sweet bays are native, and that one would have come up of its own volition.
But she planted the American osmanthus.
I would guess she probably planted that American osmanthus. There's a number of other species that she sort of
and both are evergreen.
Yes.
And then there's the pines back behind us there. Okay, wow. All right, continuing down the road.
Continue on down the road here. And now this over here on the right, this would have been planted by my mom. There's a little Stewartia malacadendra right there.
Oh my God, you got a Stewartia?
Yeah, we've got three Stewartia out here on the property. I'm pretty sure all of them were probably planted by Mom, and it'll be.
Has it ever bloomed?
I've not seen it bloom. There's one that's out in front of the curator's house. It has bloomed, and it bloomed this year.
Jack says they like pretty much full sun.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just
well,
beginning my experience with them.
Well, here's the thing. Jack knows that it loves full sun, and Torreya loves full sun, but without human help, they can't get it. Because only pioneer species can come into full sun and stay there for a while. I mean, these things get overtopped.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like Torreya. It's waiting. It grows there. It hangs out. It's waiting for somebody or a branch to go down, and then it'll put out a flower. So all these pine trees are post-cotton plantation.
Post-cotton plantation. Most of them are going to be post-cotton plantation. Some of these, now this road that we're traveling on was it's called the Sparta Road, and originally was a buffalo trace that passed through here, and it was originally the main road. It ran from Winfield, Louisiana to Sparta, Louisiana. Sparta was the parish seat of Bienville Parish. Winfield is the parish seat of Wynn Parish. And some of these trees alongside the road probably were left, just left there. So some of these are going to be probably pushing the 200-year range.
Is that why the road is eroded so far here? Is that there had been wagon wheels going through it so long?
There would have been wagons and things that went down through there. Like I said, it was a buffalo trace to start. The Indians, this was hunting grounds for the Indian tribes of the area. They would come out here and hunt, and then later on the early explorers, settlers, and so forth used the same trails the Indians did. Then when folks started settling, they just kept traveling the same roads that were established. The buffalo were actually traveling from the salt works down in Goldonna up to the salt lick over in Castor. There were two major salt works overseen by the Spaniards in this area. Got a nice tree. Specimen tree I want to show you here real quick. And then we'll head on around. What you're seeing straight ahead is the gazebo that was funded by the Daughters of the American Revolution, and it's on the side of the cabin that Caroline Dormon was born in.
Oh, wow.
But what I want to show you is off to your right here, this big massive tree there.
Oh my gosh.
That is a white ash.
No.
That is white ash.
Oh my God. It's huge.
Yeah. And the Dormon children had a tree fort up in that tree when they was kids. And you can see it's pretty deep. I've not checked that one either for actually, you know what, I did check that for diameter, and it was 39. I want to say that was 39 inches in diameter. And it's a bee tree also. Right here, if you watch this area right here, you see the bees coming in?
Yeah.
What are they doing out this time of year? What are they finding?
It's just warm enough for them, and we've got we have different things that are in bloom. One of their favorites that Miss Carey planted here is the Elaeagnus pungens. It's not a native, but she didn't mind planting non-natives.
That's an olive,
that
right?
played well with others.
Yeah. That played well with others. I like that.
They play well with
non-natives that play well with others. That's
good.
good.
So she had that, and
so you call her Ms. Carey, not Ms. Caroline.
I call her Miss Carey because if you were a close friend, and our family was, you could call her Miss Carey. Otherwise, it was Caroline.